Datsun had a fairly shallow presence in the Indian market with its first two products, the Go and the Go Plus. However, both those products have done well in certain pockets of India. But now, across India, pan-India, Datsun intends to, aim a lot more aggressively at capturing consumer interest with a whole new product. This is the third product in their lineup and it's called the Redigo. It's an all-new compact hatchback, sits below the Go. But apart from just that Go in the nameplate, the Redigo shares absolutely nothing with the Go and the Go Plus. The Redigo is built on an all-new platform called the Compact Modular Family, or the CMF, and this is the A segment of cars. So it's got the CMF A segment of cars. Now the Redigo is targeted at the urban commuter, but just how urban compatible this car is, well, that's what we're here to sample. The Redigo is a subcompact hatchback and at just a shade under 3.5 meters in length, this is a fairly small car. Yet Datsun has managed to package the interior space quite well. There's enough of space for occupants, especially for the front occupants. It's got a tall boy stance, it's got this very tallish profile, and that gives you a fair amount of headroom. Big glass areas all around means this cabin feels a lot more roomy. Even at the rear, there's a fair amount of knee room for passengers. However, squeezing in 3 passengers in that rear bench, keep in mind this is not a very wide car, but and 3 passengers will be a bit of a squeeze. Still, it's got a flat floor design, and that means those 3 passengers, if you still do squeeze them in, will sit with reasonable comfort. Overall, it's not a bad cabin at all. In terms of space, it's been well packaged, though I think Datsun could have done better, but still this is one of the best that you will see in this segment. The Redigo has a 222-litre boot, which isn't best in class. Nevertheless, it's generous for this segment of car. Now that boot is deeper than it is wider, and it's got a fairly high loading lip, as a result of which placing heavy objects inside that boot can be a bit tricky. The interior design of the Redigo is quite bland. The dashboard, well, it's got a lot of surface finishes, a lot of textures on it as well, but it doesn't feel very premium. This is the top-end S variant that I'm driving. There will be about 4 to 5 variants, and the S variant that I'm driving, well, that comes with a stereo system. Of course, it's got only aux and USB connectivity, no Bluetooth connectivity, because that would have raised the price up. And on the safety front, the Redigo, well, it definitely gives you a driver side airbag. There are no passenger side airbags. But Datsun still claims that this is a fairly safe car to drive. Now keep in mind, Datsun had gone through the eye of a storm some time back with the Go, where it had failed those global NCAP safety crash tests. So they made a much larger effort to make the Redigo a much safer cabin to be in. You can find a lot of storage spaces inside the Redigo's cabin, and some that will easily hold a cup of coffee, a large cup of coffee, and a small bottle of water, half-liter bottle of water. The door pockets, well, they aren't very generous. Small files, folders will definitely sit in there, but nothing more. Accessibility, however, isn't too bad. You can access those door pockets. The 800cc engine under the hood of the Redigo is a compact 3-cylinder unit. It makes 54 PS max power and 72 Nm of max torque. Now, there's a lot of aluminium used in the construction of this engine, and that keeps the weight of the engine low, as a result of which efficiency is optimized. Now, Datsun claims the Redigo gives a fuel efficiency of 25.17 kilometers per litre, which is fairly respectable for a car in this segment. Performance, however, well, don't go Expecting earth-shattering performance, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is achieved in 15.9 seconds. It's a reasonably slow car. That 54 PS of max power is made at a reasonably high, fairly high 5,678 RPM. And to get to that maximum power, you really have to wring the juice out of this engine. You're constantly downshifting into second gear and third gear, and that makes the engine sound rough and noisy. The Redigo has an electronic power-assisted steering system. It's light throughout at high speeds or at low speeds, whether it's in urban conditions or in highway conditions. Dynamics and precision, well, that isn't something you're going to be hankering after in the Redigo. Nonetheless, this is a competent car. It's safe, feels secure in urban conditions. Just don't go pushing this car around corners too hard. It's got a reasonable high center of gravity. With that 185 mm of ground clearance, center of gravity is pushed up higher. One highlight that is quite impressive in the Redigo is its ride quality. Thanks to a McPherson system set up at the front and a twist beam at the rear, both of which have been optimized for Indian driving condition by Nissan's engineers in Chennai, here in India itself. The Datsun Redigo is a competent car. Now, I wouldn't call it a very impressive hatchback, but then this segment really does not demand very impressive engineering. It requires a competent car, cars that can do the job that are called of it. Simply because cars of this segment are targeted at a very price-conscious buyer. Someone who's looking at affordability and practicality along with efficiency above all else. So it's got all the accessories, all the creature comforts that you would require: air conditioning, power windows, the sound system, especially in the top-end model, and of course a driver's side airbag. And I really couldn't expect much more from Datsun in this segment. But more than anything else, Datsun will intend to take this car, the Redigo, to all of its 250 plus touch points across India, which is a fairly respectable network. But the one thing that could turn the table in Datsun's favor and give them a fair amount of consumer interest and, establish themselves firmly in Indian consumers' minds and wallets will be the pricing of the Redigo. Now, we expect the pricing to be at an average of about 2.5 lakh rupees, but Datsun could surprise us and price it lower. And that would make it a tremendously good value for money car. But well, let's wait and see.